I said when I'm reviewing the Star Wars movies, that I'm kind of reviewing them out of order based on the ones I want to talk about the most and watch currently right now. I'm going to watch them all. I'm going to try to watch the Ewok movies. If I can find them on YouTube in good quality, then I will watch them. But that's probably not going to happen, so don't count on the Ewok movies being reviewed. But I did review the Clone Wars movie. I did a review for Star Wars A New Hope and a spoiler review for Star Wars A New Hope. And then I did a same with The Empire Strikes Back. And now we're going to talk about Rogue One. I saw The Force Awakens back in 2015, and I knew that there was going to be a Star Wars movie every year. Rogue One came out, and the trailers were pretty cool. Like, the line in the trailer that Saw Gerrera has, like, really, I kept quoting, like, I was like, man, this movie's gonna be so cool. When they find you and catch you, what will you become? I was like, oh, man, this movie's gonna be dark, it's gonna be cool. And then we heard that the movie got majority reshot, like Solo did, except Solo was majority done when they reshot that movie. This movie was not. So that could explain some issues with this movie, and I'll get into that when I get to it. But, you know, Rogue One is basically the story of this group that ends up going out, and they steal the Death Star plans, so that, you know, basically they steal the plans that we see in A New Hope, and that end up leading to the Death Star being destroyed. And that's the great part about this movie, is that a story like that could have very low stakes, because you already know what's going to happen. You know that at the end of the movie, Death Star plans, they're going to get them. They're going to save the day. But with the ending, which I will not spoil, makes it less predictable, because you're not sure who's going to make it out alive, who's going to survive in this end battle. And the ending is the best part, but the majority of this movie is terrible. The script, awful. It's an awful script, because, I mean, every line of dialogue, these are amazing actors, and some of these actors can't even, like, say these lines without sounding cringy. It is terrible. It is terrible script writing. But the cinematography, the amazing special effects are awesome. I love that. But the characters are just so flat on one note. Like, you get hints, there's little lines about what Cassian's backstory is. We kind of see a little bit of Jyn Erso's, but we only see her as a little girl, and then it cuts to her being arrested, like, in the movie. I mean, it's not really a spoiler, because it's not going to ruin your experience of watching the movie, but, you know, so you don't really see, oh, this character did these crimes. You don't get to see what those crimes are. You don't really understand what those crimes were. You don't understand what the deal is. You don't get any of that. You don't understand where these characters come from. You get an idea of what they come from. So, you know, there's things that happen to these characters in the movie that I'm just like, I don't even care. Saw Gerrera, whoever played that actor, just had the worst delivery, and he just was awful in the movie, honestly. I hated his character. He didn't do anything. He had the worst lines of dialogue, and he just kind of something spoiler. And it's just, this is a very, very expensive, pretty looking movie with great special effects, cinematography, an amazing ending. But overall, it's just boring. It's boring because most of the movie is just like them bouncing from planet to planet, and that's probably because this movie was reshot, so certain sequences of them bouncing the planet to planet probably weren't in the original cut of the movie, and then they reshot some sequences and certain things happened, or maybe some scenes went longer and more things were explained. We don't really know, but that's kind of what I feel like. That's for the first two acts of the movie, and then once you get to that third act, it's like, yeah, this movie is so much fun. I think that's why people love this movie a lot, because there's a lot of people really like this movie and really love it. And I'm like, I don't see that, but maybe it's there's tons of movies that have horrible, um, be, beginnings and middles, but then they end, and then people, and it makes, when you're left with that ending, it's like that's the last thought you're left with leaving the theater. So I'm sure there was a lot of people who watched this and were like, yeah, this is the greatest Star Wars movie because of that amazing ending, when it really just sucks. Because the ending is really good, but everything else around it is terrible. But since you're left with that good feeling when you leave because of the good ending, it makes the movie seem a lot better than it is. And it's really not. There's going to be a Cassian Andor TV show on Disney Plus. I'd like to see that because it'd be interesting to see how this character grew up. What crimes did he commit that he's talked about? The bad things he's done for the rebellion that he kind of mentions in this movie, but they're not really explored. They're not really said in detail. You don't really get any hints about it. Really, he just kind of says, "I've done bad things for the rebellion," and you're like, "Whatever the hell does that mean?" But yeah, this is not a great Star Wars movie. It's kind of just a 6 out of 10. Like, it's okay, but there's a lot of problems here. It's kind of a very messy movie. I think A New Hope is probably a 9 out of 10. Empire Strikes Back, 10 out of 10. And Clone Wars movie, I'm going to give that a 4 out of 10. So, that's where we're at right now. I felt like I should watch this one because it's been a while. I haven't seen this since like the year it came out. I've tried to rewatch this one before, and I just was never able to do it. And now I really get why, because this is not a good movie. It's okay, but it's got too many problems. But yeah, there's going to be a spoiler review